Hello, my name is Lina Park. I'm the Executive Director of the Korean American Community Foundation of San Francisco. I'll be speaking on fundraising principles for leaders. So before we begin, I wanted to provide you a brief overview of KACF SF. We're a philanthropic organization that was founded 7 years ago by 13 founding members. We're a small staff of 3, but we have many volunteers, including our leadership team, our board, associate board, advisors, and our many volunteers in the community. Many people ask us what we do as a philanthropic organization. So in the for-profit world, many venture capitalists raise funds to invest in startup companies. In nonprofit, philanthropic organizations like us raise funds to invest in our community. We also bring our community together through convenings, and we connect with our community so that collectively we can support low-income and immigrant community American families and do good together. To date, we've given out over $2 million in grants to nonprofit partners who are on the ground doing great work for our community. In fact, here's a glimpse of some of our nonprofit partners and organizations. So as a philanthropic organization, we raise money so that we can support, enhance, and build capacity of the nonprofit organizations working in our community. So many people ask us how we fundraise. We presently held our 6th annual gala and raised nearly $700,000. We also hold many fundraising events throughout the year. In addition, many of our donors give straight donations to us without any events because they know about the work that we do. So whether you're raising $5,000, $30,000, $700,000, the actual event and work will look very different based on your organization. Before you do the work, it's important to understand the philosophy and approach of fundraising as leaders in our community. These are principles many of our board members and leaders in our organization also follow. So what is fundraising? Fundraising is not just about events and donations, but fundraising is an opportunity to tell your story, to connect, to build relationships, to give back to the community, and to practice good governance. So I will go a little more into detail and provide examples of these fundraising principles. Fundraising provides an opportunity to talk about our organization's mission and why we exist. For example, KACF-SF's mission is to build a vibrant, healthy, and empowered Korean American community. So every work we do, every decision we make as an organization, we ask this question: does it build a healthy community? Is it empowering our community? And for us, this is why we exist. 20% of seniors live in poverty in the US, and the US poverty level is $12,880 for just one person. We have high rates of mental health needs and very limited services in Korean. One of the greatest barriers to receiving care in the US is language. These are the reasons why we fundraise so hard in order to support those in need. Another way to fundraise is to connect your personal story with others and the mission. A question to ask yourself is, why did you join the organization? What is your personal story? So this is a photo of my grandmother, sister, and me before we immigrated to the United States with the whole family, including my parents. I came to the United States when I was 4 years old. And I came here during a time when the largest number of immigrants were actually Korean. Even though we came in large numbers, we moved to all parts of the United States. In fact, I lived in a small town in Ohio where I was one of 3 Asians in the whole high school. The other Asian was my sister. As an immigrant child, I saw the struggles of not only my own parents and grandparents, but many immigrant Korean families who came to give their children a better life. And though many of us assimilated to the American culture successfully, we know it came at a cost and a sacrifice. So we give back not only to our own family, but to our community in gratitude for their sacrifice. We also give so that the next generation of youth and immigrant families have more resources, support, and opportunities than we all did as immigrants. But whether we came when we were 4 or 14 or 40, whether we moved back and forth between the US and Korea, Whether we lived in cities with many Koreans or none, we all have a story and a connection to one another. Another way to fundraise is to share your mission in the community through information and knowledge. So why do we exist? We exist because we are addressing the greatest needs in our community based on the data that I shared with you earlier. In fact, KACF was launched as an organization because of this data. Data reveals needs in the community to support because it is hard to ask for money or support when there's little information about our community. This is why census is so important for Koreans living here today. One example, health clinics aren't able to hire Korean-speaking staff because census shows that there weren't enough Korean in a given area. They could not justify the staff without this data. In addition to census, there are many opportunities to participate in data and research. For example, CARE, which is a collaborative effort of UCSF and many Asian American organizations in the community in California, we're getting the word out about a health registry to ensure Asian Americans' voices are also heard in healthcare. The information gathered can help provide national funding to more Korean Americans. Many people think about fundraising as merely an activity that has to be done. But fundraising is more than that. It's about relationship building. In fact, our board, staff, and leadership embrace the importance of community and the principles of connecting, sharing stories, and helping one another. And they build meaningful relationships without asking for anything. And so when it's time to ask, those who know us know why we are asking. They know that we ask with both authenticity and integrity. When we do ask, we do our best to honor and respect those who give of their resources and time to us. We know it's not just about the asking. We find ways to give back in appreciation. For example, Edwin Chang, who's a Korean American short films director at Pixar and who also worked as a technical director for Up, Inside Out, and many other films, completed a short animation film called Wind based on the life of his dad and his grandmother during the Korean War. He wanted to share a personal story through this animated film. We asked Edwin if he'd be willing to donate a Pixar tour for our upcoming gala, which he gladly offered. We also asked him how we could help him get the word out about this short film. And in the end, we ended up receiving even more. He became one of the most dedicated volunteers who gave his time for delivering meals to our seniors every Friday during lockdown. So by supporting each other, we all win. Donors give to organizations they trust, so good governance is vital. What is governance? Governance is how organizations operate with ethics, management, compliance, and administration. It's about the actions and decisions we as an organization make for the good of our community. This is the core of all nonprofit organizations. That is why governance is important to fundraising. These are questions you can ask yourself as leaders in your organization. Is your organization transparent and do you work with integrity? How do you measure your work and goals in your community? Are you achieving your mission? How well do you work with others for the good of the community? At KACF, we constantly ask ourselves these questions as we work in the community. As funders, we also evaluate organizations through this lens. Fundraising is not just about receiving money. It's an opportunity to tell your story, to connect, build relationships, give back, and practice good governance. And so I can't stress this enough of how important it is as leaders, as fundraisers, as those in nonprofit. Tell a good story. Find opportunities with others to connect. Find ways to not just receive, but also give. Honor each donation, value your leaders and your volunteers, and strive for good governance. And last but not least, have fun. So thank you so much. If you'd like to learn more about KACF, please connect with us on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you.